That's how we own it.
What's up, family? It's your girl, Tamika D, Mallory.
And it's your boy, Mysonne, the general.
And we are your hosts of Street Politicians, the place where the streets and politics meet. Mr. Lennon.
Mrs. Mallory, how are you today?
I'm doing good. There's a lot of stuff happening in the news world. And I got one that is so good. I'm so excited to talk about it.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on, man. It's been a very eventful week, man.
It has been.
You know.
But I have one that is.
Well, let me kind of guess what might be one that you're excited to talk about.
Well, it's not so much being excited to talk about it. It's just funny that, the world has just changed so much. And so the plastic surgery industry has obviously boomed. I mean, we all know that. Not everybody, but a lot of people are getting a nick and a tuck and a pull and a thing and the mommy makeovers and all different types of stuff. And I have no judgment of people taking care of themselves, getting what they think they need to be their best selves and however they want to feel. I did see, and I laughed a lot about the lips thing. I do think that's a little crazy, where people are getting their lips done and they can't even talk. Like, I have actual friends or people I know well that cannot really speak because their lips are so tight, especially immediately following the lip surgery. So that's a little crazy. And I saw one of the guys talking about it. But the new news that was released on Hollywood Unlocked today was that the industry has grown even more because of men, that at least $1.3 million in the United States has been calculated or earned based upon men getting plastic surgery. That includes things like, ab enhancement. And that's something that when a lot of women get their stomachs done, like they get the mommy makeover or whatever, the doctors do put some construction around the abs to make them look better. So that, okay, maybe someone felt they needed that as a man. Then they have the liposuction piece, which liposuction has become way more accessible and a usable tool for a lot more people. It's not just women that do it. There are men who are also getting liposuction especially in cases where they were once really big and they've been working out and all of that, and then they need to get skin removal and a little bit of liposuction. So men are doing that. And the thing though that I thought was a little like, whoa, is the BBLs. I don't know or understand what.
So men are getting BBLs?
Yes, men are getting BBL.
Too far, man. We taking this shit way too far. A man getting a Brazilian butt lift is crazy to me. Just the sound of it is crazy to me. Like,
they're doing it. Men are getting BBLs
I don't think so. I think
out here. No, it's true. No, I no, because once I saw the story, all you got to do is go to YouTube and a couple places and you can actually see it happening. And I see it. It's happening. Men are getting BBLs.
That's crazy. You walk in as a man and you like, I want the Brazilian butt lift.
They don't really say all those words.
They just say,
you say all those words. It makes it sound so much more,
Yeah, like with bullshit, like what it is.
So you gotta say BBL.
I want the BBL.
You get the BBL.
Wow, that's crazy to me.
And I love to tell this one because I knew it was gonna make you be like, what in the hell?
Sense. Like, come on, bro. You gotta do better. The abs, okay. I ain't gonna do it because I'm gonna work and get mine back somehow. But I can kind of.
You gotta get yours back.
Yeah, I got to get him back because I had a complete 6-pack, but it's about 3.5 now. So I'm trying to get that 2.5 back.
You trying to get your old thing back?
I get that old thing back. But so I understand a little bit about that. You get boom. But the BBL is too much. Like, I don't even know what a man needed. What do a man need his butt lift?
Like,
What is it
listen.
for? Who are you? I mean, I guess.
Well, people are doing different things for different reasons.
A little bit strange. They act a little strange for a little bit of change, man.
I'm just saying. So that's it. So the BBL. Then the plastic surgery and how men are also taking advantage of these great services as a nip and a tuck to make themselves feel a little bit more confident. Okay. So then Donald Trump was finally arrested. Now,
Donald Trump.
Well, he finally turned himself.
Chumpenstein got arrested, huh? They finally.
He turned.
Name perp walk him, though, man. I need a little perp walk.
Well, I can understand why they did.
Mug shot, come on, but nah.
But I understand why they did.
I got perp walked and mug shot for some shit I ain't even do. Trump need to go and get perp walked and mug shot.
But I have a perspective on why they did. I have a perspective on it.
What's the perspective?
And here's my 1-2 quick punch. And I'm not saying, first of all, yes, all of it is racism and white privilege and all of that. I already know all of that. I get it. I'm just giving another bucket that we could also pull from. It is not helpful to the United States to have an image of the president of the United States in, as a mugshot. That's not necessarily, it's not helpful to our nation. Yes, we're already weak. Yes, we already look crazy. Yes, all the things, but the mugshot, forget about what American citizens and Trump haters may do, but it's also not good for the country's profile to have a picture of the president, the former president of the United States as a mugshot. They do have to kind of consider some of the international ramifications of things that we do. So I'm just saying, I'm giving it as a separate, very minute potential point that is under the racism of how Black and brown men and even white people are, and which, that would be white supremacy because then the white people are impacted by it as well, but whatever, how we are as a people perp walked and the mugshot and the whole thing. So I get that. And of course, white privilege is a big part of it because there is white privilege, right? I was watching a documentary that was on in CNN International while traveling in Europe. And I saw that they did a story where they talked about the other presidents like Clinton and also Nixon. And in the moments when they were, facing indictment, Nixon was actually indicted, which he was pardoned by President Ford. So he didn't do jail time. And then, of course, Clinton, they did a deal with him that he would not be indicted so long as he admitted that he lied. So white men, they always figure out a way. And that's what I said. I said, Trump must be so bad that they couldn't even find their usual ways of manipulating the system to try not to do this last thing, which a Black man had to use what was in his hand in order to indict him. But at the end of the day, even still, the privilege is there. Trump should be in jail, should have been in jail. However, I'm just giving us a third perspective in another bucket that we do got to think about the international profile of this country.
Well, I can understand that perspective, but in just my personal opinion, we all created equal. And although this was the president, he committed an illegal act, so for us to show any level of favoritism to him, when we know that he committed a crime because he was arrested and arraigned on these charges, well, allegedly, when we're arrested and arraigned, you think my mother wanted to see me in, in handcuffs, in a mugshot, perp walk? No. So I understand all of the political, mumbo jumbo that we speak of and how it doesn't look good, but it doesn't look good that average people citizens who the government, who elect the government, the people who work for us, we have to be perp walked and have mugshots with the people that we elect that do crimes do. So I think, the fairness of it is wrong. I understand the politics of it, but I'm tired of politics. You know what I'm saying? I'm just so tired of politics because politics doesn't benefit.
I respect that.
So I want the same. I want my sandwich just as big as his, man. You know what I'm saying? I want the same exact thing that everybody else got. I want it to be equal around the board. If I'm deemed a criminal and I'm deemed to have committed a crime and I'm arrested, I want the same treatment that you would give anybody else that's arrested. So I expect them to get the same treatment that I was getting.
Right. And then people keep saying he was arrested. And I'm like,
yeah, because arrest don't look like that to me.
Arrest. He was able to turn himself in and he made it back to Mar-a-Lago before the evening, which that can happen to any one of us because I've been arrested in a city and made it on the plane from DC or wherever back home by the nighttime. So it's not to say that it's not possible, but arrest. So anyway, that was my little perspective on that. I was looking at something on social media the other day, and it was actually, it was just the other day. A few people posted about it. Sean King, of course, Linda Sarsour, who is our partner, and and she is Palestinian. And I saw during last weekend how the Israeli, the IDF, the Israeli military was inside of a temple while the Palestinians were in prayer and in service, and they were beating them. I mean, I'm so glad that it was caught on camera in clear view so no one can say, oh, well, the Palestinians did this to them first, because the truth is, why were they inside their church? Like inside of their mosque? Why were you in their place of
worship? We're in the holy month of Ramadan. That's crazy.
Exactly. But this is the thing that happens every year. And I think people need to know that this is not a new situation. This is something that happens every year because this particular place of worship, the Israelis have decided that they have to have this space. And we should actually have Linda on to talk about the specifics around this, because of course, I'm not an expert, but I do read, one, and two, I listen, and, and I understand some of because we've been to Palestine and we are also closely aligned with pro-Palestine organizations and activists. I do understand some of the things that's happening in the region. And I know that they have prayer, of course, during Ramadan in this same place every year. And it is a real thing that the Israelis believe that this particular area, I think it's like up in a wherever it's geographically placed somewhere, that they believe it should be theirs. So it is a ritual for both sides to go there and pray, because it is the Palestinian people's temple, or I might be using the wrong word. It is their place of worship. And they've been there praying there for whoever knows how many years. And since the Israelis have decided that it should be returned to the Jews, or it should be the Jews and their place of worship, they're just going to take it. They're just going to debo it, and that's it. And I think that the thing that is so important for us to understand, because I'm sure there are people who are listening and they're like, why are you telling us this? Like, what this got to do with us? Here's the thing. The Israeli military that was in the place of worship beating on these people are paid with our tax dollars. See, that's the reason why it's important, because the money, there are billions of dollars, not millions, not thousands, not a few dollars. There are billions of dollars being sent from the United States of America, our tax dollars, to fund what is happening, the atrocity, the human rights violation. Now, when I say human rights violation, I got that language from Amnesty International. I got that language from some of your most credible human rights organizations in the world, okay, that have deemed what is happening to the Palestinian people to be a human rights violation. So we pay for it with our money. And that's why we have the right to speak on it. That's why we have the right to call it out.
You're 100% right, man. Just watching that video and hearing them praying, while they were being beaten was something that was just like, damn. And knowing that it's Ramadan and hearing them praying and watching them being beat, you know, it shifted my soul. So I just pray for the Palestinians during this time, you know, that God continues to give them strength and protect them. You know, it's just, you know, we just living in dangerous times. We just live in a world where so many things are going on. It's crazy to me because it's like Trump never said a lot of real shit to me, but one thing he did say that, you know, me and you joke about and we laugh about a lot is people are dying that never died before.
He said that.
He said people are dying that never died before, and that's really what's happening. I turn around every day, it's a new person, man. A close friend of mine's, I wasn't even able to go to his funeral because, you know, we were out of town, but, you know, close friend of mine's, you know, he passed away, and passed away, I heard he passed away. Somebody killed him in the Dominican Republic. You know, I didn't get to send my regards and my respects to his family, but, you know, shout out to my brother Nathan Ingram, man. Since third grade, we was really close friends, and, you know, he lost his life. And then every day you just hear different people. I go on Instagram and see people that I know just lost their life. You know, we're in that age. As you start getting your 40s, you start seeing, you know, people start to disappear. So we got to be healthy, man. I want us to, everybody, listen, if you're 40, 38, 39 and over, get real about your health, man. Start eating properly, start exercising, start taking care of yourself, start getting your checkups. I got to go get my checkup real soon. But we got to be intentional about taking care of ourselves, man. So,
and it's a mental health thing too. It's not just, you know, you got to protect your mental health space.
yes.
You have to cut off family, friends, whoever it is that's stressing you out or making you feel unwell. You have to check yourself for making you feel unwell because you're trying to live up to expectations in the world that, you know, it's, you know, we really got to be careful out here.
We do. We got to protect our space, our mind, everything. So, you know, hopefully, you know, the situation in Palestine gets better before it gets worse, man. I'm sending out my love, prayers, and regards, man. And shout out to our sister Linda, who, you know, I know she's personally, you know, affected by this atrocity. You know, that this is her native land, this is her people. So we're always standing in solidarity with her and going to stand on the side of the righteousness in this situation. You know, it's just crazy. I'm just looking around. There's just so much stuff going on. I mean, I could just go on and on about the things we're dealing with, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, like too many different things. And speaking of that, Until Freedom partners and some of our team, they're down in Tennessee. They've been there for the last several days. And, you know, folks know that we are taping our show. So sometimes by the time the show airs, it would, you know, things would have progressed. And so, but people should know that in Tennessee, there are 3 legislators, 2 young Black men and an older white woman who joined protesters, young protesters, students who were protesting the gun violence issue. Obviously, just in the last 2 weeks or week, it's happening so fast. There was a mass shooting there where for the first time that I know of, it has been recorded in my research that a woman actually committed this atrocity. Now, I know that she is trans or they are trans, and so I'm not sure exactly all the things, but I think that they identify as a woman. And
identified because they're no longer with us.
But right, okay, so they identified as a woman. And so she committed this atrocity where these, I don't know, I think it's several people who were killed. It's so many of them that I actually now don't even remember the exact numbers. God bless every single soul. I know there were adults, I think 3 adults, and one of them was a Black man who was in his 60s, who worked at the school, and then others, individuals, and of course, some young children, kids. baby. Unbelievable, disgusting, horrible, everything you could think of, the worst ever, deplorable, just throw everything, just anything, any word you could come up with. It's terrible. And, you know, I was thinking the other day, it can't continue. Like, it has to stop. People cannot have fear of sending their children to school, that somebody's going to walk into school and potentially shoot their kids. That is way too much. It's just way too much. It's way too much for us to have to be thinking about it happening on the streets. But it's way too much to also not know if your children will be safe when the door is closed to the building in school. Even with us as African Americans who deal with violence in a lot of different ways, in school, that was the one place. It might be a fight, maybe even a knife pulled, maybe, depending on how, you know, where you went to school and those types of situations. But the majority of our children and us as kids were safe in school. And the shit really popped off when the doors open and you went on the outside of the building. The inside, you didn't really have casualties and large quantities, and the adults and the kids being killed at the same time. That just is not a thing. Now, this is becoming a regular thing. So these students were protesting. Shout out to those kids. They were bold. They was given
It was serious.
It was given hell up in there. And the legislators, these three legislators, they, as I said, two younger Black men and an older white woman, they sat down in the chambers with the kids. Now, Tennessee is a super majority red state. So that means they red. Okay, they blood orange red. And they have rules of decorum where legislators are not supposed to protest in the chambers. So these three individuals chose to do so. All three of them have been stripped of their committees and their responsibilities. And now there's a vote that is happening today as we are taping today and tomorrow to decide whether they will be completely ousted from their seats as legislators in general because of, again, this decorum issue. It is bullshit. It is racism. It is white supremacy. It should be illegal. It should be inhumane. The people of Tennessee voted for these individuals. The youth were there standing up for their lives. And the thing that really bothers me, and this is sort of, I have 2 points to my thought of the day today. The first thing is, how do people even fix their faces to have the same response to children being killed and adults, legislators standing with the children as they would, you know, maybe that the legislators had sex out of wedlock, right? And or had a baby out of wedlock with somebody, because that's a decorum issue that could get you ousted, that you were sleeping with staff members or you had sex out of wedlock with somebody and got, you know, the person pregnant or whatever. So it's basically like you're doing something that disgraces the seat that you sit in. Yeah. How can you put that and this together and actually make a move on it, right? Well, like
I think it's simple. America has shown you that they're going to always do shit that fits them, right? And it benefits them. You know, we looked at, these are two Black people, especially two Black people. And the issue at hand is something that they fight. They going to fight you tooth and nail about their guns.
About their guns.
So, and it's not even about, and the thing is, people keep saying you're trying to take the guns. No, we're not trying to take the guns. We're just trying to make sure that psychopaths don't get guns, right? There should be a level of a process that you go through to where the person who is back checks things that make sense. Like everybody just don't supposed to have a gun in their hand.
Right. And you should never, I don't believe that any person should have automatic weapons that they could kill at mass rate. I don't believe that.
It don't make sense. It doesn't make those.
Not in your house.
Those are supposed to be people who have passed extensive background checks, who are skilled, who have mental, like the mental health
threshold,
for that has to be
which is
very
unrealistic.
unrealistic. Like you're supposed to have monthly check-ins with psychologists. Like we have to understand young men, anybody that's in possessions of guns, weapons of mass destruction should have probably weekly, like you should have a mandatory weekly visit to a mental health.
That is unrealistic. So you
But I
should
mean,
not have it.
but that's what I'm saying. So what the process, because I don't know if people lose their mind every day. Like every day somebody loses their mind.
Up and down.
And then you could just take somebody's life, and that's what we're seeing every day. So if there's no process in which, look, we're sure this person is of sound mind, we're doing this evaluation, we check them every weekly. He comes in, we have conversations. He seems to be on board. At least you're doing the due diligence. These people want to have guns of mass destruction with impunity. And that makes no sense to me. It's not making sense.
They're gonna say they do have background checks. That's what they're gonna say. They're gonna say you have to fill out a form.
That's not true.
But it's not true, because you could go to Walmart and buy all types of weapons. And more, and by the way, obviously it's not strong enough, number one. Number two, the thing that just happened, I think it was at Howard University. We should look that up, but I think it was at Howard, where they found a person who had a machete, some other knives, some ammunition, some other stuff, like
some chicken foot and some other shit. I don't know.
And people
some rituals.
That's crazy.
Like he was on he was on an HBCU. I don't know if it was how, but I know it was an HBCU, and he definitely was there with ammunition and guns and some blood, some chicken blood and foot or some shit that he was going to perform some ritual, like
do whatever he was going to do. You said the most powerful point of the day. People lose their mind every day. Every day is a new day for humans, because we live in a world. I saw a video that DL Hughley posted also this week, where a little girl is crying saying, "Daddy called me a Democrat." And her mother is like, what? And she's taping her, what? And then the mother goes, "Daddy, why would you call her that?" And this little girl is no older than 6 or 7. And she is having a whole breakdown, a meltdown about being called a Democrat. So the thing about it is that when you say people lose their mind every day, this country is so effed up. It's so effed up that people are physically, emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever, having all types of reactions to racism and societal issues, oppression. Okay, people, again, their mental health poverty is impacting them. So from minute to minute, somebody with an assault rifle, somebody with any kind of weapon, by the way. So imagine if you got a knife, you might stab 1 or 2. And in the world, hopefully people will be able to fight back, run, or do whatever. But if you have an assault rifle and you can reach me while I'm running away from the stabbing that you just committed, right? You committed stabbing over here. I see it and I'm out, and you can't just catch me. This is not the movies. This is not Freddy that walks.
That good old machine gun will gun you down.
Right, but the gun is going to catch you wherever you are. It's going to kill as many people as possible, right? So that's a problem. And if you know that every day people are losing their mind, how is this, anyway, I don't know. But the other part of my thought of the day is, are people paying attention? I get it. It's too much. It's too much. It's too much. And nobody has the time, the energy, the wherewithal. The mental health issue is important. And so there are a lot of folks out here who have tuned out. They have turned it off because they cannot maintain the daily information of what's going on. But I know a lot of people that tell me they don't even watch the news. They don't watch the news. They don't read the papers. They don't know anything. And meanwhile, there's serious things, because we haven't even talked about what's going on in Mississippi. In Mississippi, they're trying to pass all types of laws. They're doing so much. It would do a disservice for me to sit here and go through Mississippi. But Mississippi is dealing with 5 or 6 things at one time in terms of all the attempts to destroy communities, to steal resources and things in response to the water crisis, where they want to take the money that Mississippi is supposed to get from the federal government for the water crisis. They want to take Jackson, Mississippi's money specifically and put it towards some other things. Then you have a state like Kentucky. There's so much debate on the issue around the trans community and whether or not kids should be able to have their alter their genitals and all of that, and there's so many people have different perspectives. But I'm not even there. I'm not even in this. I'm not even using this particular part of this conversation to talk about that. I'm just focused on how in Kentucky they passed the law. The Democratic governor vetoed the law, and now they have again turned around and vetoed that or did something to overturn it, where the school district is going to be able to look at the genitals of the children to decide, to look at them and be able to determine what the genitals are of children. So if the child had, yes, that happened. This just happened. I get it that people have different feelings about from their
Wait, explain to me. So what you mean they're gonna be able to see if the child, something happened to the child, so they get to examine the child's genitals or something?
Yes, they get to examine, the school district can examine the child's genitals to make a determination of, I guess, what sports they can play and to know about the child. Now, mind you, these laws coincide with other places, like I think in Iowa, they are talking about if you had your genitals changed, they want it to be changed back. Like, this is some serious shit that's going on out here. So I know people feel like, well, that's not my issue. And I was just about to say that there are some people who probably feel like, well, from my spiritual perspective or my religious, background, or just my whatever I feel, my family or whatever, however I come up, I don't believe that a child should be able to change their genitals. And you have every right to feel that way. But the state should not have the right to allow people to violate it.
Yeah, it's too much. The government is doing too much. Like, y'all got to calm down. You know what I'm saying? Like, people, like, I don't agree with a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit that goes on, but I just don't think the government should have control over people's bodies and be able to examine and tell you what to do and what not to do with your body. I just don't think nobody other than me should be able to tell me what to do with my body.
It's crazy. And that's what I say. You might say, well, I don't care about that issue, or that's not my issue, or I agree with them. But then on the other side, you like, yeah, but I also think women should have the right to have an abortion. And all I'm saying is that people need to be paying attention that all of this is happening at the same time. So first,
it's all pretty much under the same guise and under the same umbrella.
Exactly. First, they come for women's right to choose. Then they come for forcing you to allow for your genitals to be searched.
Then you say that you can't get BBL. You can't. Tell you, then y'all gonna be fucked up. Soon they're gonna be like, no more BBLs.
They're not gonna say that because there's too much money in the medical.
The government ain't making no money off it.
Yeah, I bet you crazy. People got to pay taxes. So the more money that you spend, the more taxes that they get.
Well, they get taxes off somebody getting a sex change operation. Yeah, they
do. It's the medical industry.
I said they do. So okay. I mean.
No, but that's different because they say this is their Christian values, right? So that's different. And remember that a big part of what white folks, white supremacists are angry about is that they want to maintain population control. And so when people have less children because they are no longer producing or they don't want to carry babies or whatever, it creates a problem where they continue to diminish in numbers. So all of this, and then that's why they don't want people to have abortions. It has nothing to, they don't give a damn if we kill every Black fetus ever. They do not give a damn. What they care about, though, is stopping white women who are becoming more career driven. They're having less children. They want to stop them from decreasing and or putting a sort of a stop to the mass production of white children. I mean, all this shit is like, it's deep.
It's deep, deeper than the motherfucker, boy.
It's deep.
Listen.
Even if you don't agree, even if you have a different perspective, you should at least be aware.
Yeah, you need to be aware, because the bottom line is, when the government has too much control over an individual's personal body and agency over you, when the government has too much agency over your person, that's a problem. Like that is a problem, and it teeters on slavery. You know, so
they've never used it, and they've never used it for the right reasons. Never. So because, by the way, while they doing all this shit to check your genitals, to stop you from having abortion, and every other thing they got going on, it's a shitty ass healthcare system that people can't even get their damn medications and their heart checked properly. And our friend Tiffany Lofton is dealing with something so crazy right now with her father being released from the hospital, not being able to walk and can't even make it to dialysis. And they basically are telling him, a man who has he could live. And they're telling her to just put him in hospice and let him go. So people are dying because this system, our healthcare system, has failed. And we know that because millions of people died, not just because they had COVID or not because they had COVID, but because they went to shitty hospitals. They sat in their homes dealing with shitty answers or non-answers. And we had a president that, regardless of whether he believed that the pandemic was exactly this or that and the third, there was clearly a problem and it should have been handled a certain way. And he did not put his hands around it in time because he was so busy trying to deny that something was going on. The country does not value natural medicine and telling people to be healthy and take care of themselves. I mean, it's just so much. So while we're so into managing and monitoring what people do with their bodies, we have not even afforded any of these individuals, any of us as American citizens, with the type of healthcare system that we need in order to be healthy physically and or mentally. So, we just sitting up there being like, well, I think they right. No, the whole shit is a disaster.
It's all fucked up now.
And we have a guest though, and I love her so much. So I'm excited to bring our guest on. So now this is not our friend, it's our sister. It's our, it was at one point she was our baby girl, but she's grown all up now. She's a big girl now. She is. So in 2018, we met Chikesia Clemons after she was assaulted by Saraland, Alabama police officers in a Waffle House. I recently shared the video after getting frustrated because I saw so many people talking about how much they love Waffle House or celebrating and sort of joking about a lot of the fights and things that take place in Waffle House. And I wanted to remind folks, because our memories are short because there's a lot of stuff that's happening, about what happened to Chikesia Clemons and where we have been since that point, boycotting Waffle House, and will be forever doing so, because absolutely
I ain't had a waffle at a Waffle House since.
I ain't had a Waffle House since, and won't be having, I'll never probably step back in Waffle House for the rest of my life. And there have been times, not long ago, I was traveling with my family. My aunt was sick. We had to get up and pack up everybody and go to Ohio. And I'm gonna be transparent and go on and tell the truth. I made my parents miss their flight, being late to the airport. And next flight didn't get us in until 11 o'clock at night. And it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I really messed this up. But, and my sister was with me. She made me late. She made them late too. And when we arrived, my family, everybody was hungry, and there was literally nothing open except the Waffle House. And we as a family decided we would not eat it because we don't eat Waffle House, period. After what happened to our sister, what we saw, which was Chikesia being assaulted and derobed. And the bigger issue, because some people will say, well, the police officers did that. It wasn't, it wasn't Waffle House. Well, the bigger issue was that a white woman in Waffle House tried to charge Chikesia for plasticware after they were already eating. They were already eating and paying the bill for food. Then they tried to charge for the plasticware. And when Chikesia and her friends protested it or contested, they didn't want to do it, they said no. The white woman started a whole bunch of shit that ended up being an argument that turned into the police being called. And Waffle House did and said nothing. In fact, they were actually offensive. They actually leaned in and supported the police department instead of saying this should never have happened and apologizing properly. They did not do that. And so done with Waffle House. And after posting the video, Chikesia was traumatized, which we discussed. She was completely traumatized, but she's been working. And we brought her on the show today to talk about what's been happening in her life post the Waffle House and all the other things that's going on. And so I am just so happy to see my sister.
I know, right? I miss y'all.
Young Clemons, man, how you been?
Young Mice, I'm good. How you doing?
We just still fighting a good fight. I want to say I'm proud of you, just watching you continue to grow into your own, you have your level of activism, you have your level of motivation. You're just a very motivational individual. And seeing you come from the young girl that we met that was shy and scared, and then we talk and to see you open up and become this motivational figure, it makes me feel proud. So I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing.
I will, and I appreciate y'all because y'all was like the leading force to push me to get to that point. So I appreciate y'all for just being there.
Yeah, Chikesia Clemons. You are from Mobile, Alabama. This incident happened in Saraland, which is right outside of Mobile. And the one thing I will say is that my mother's from a place called Monroeville, Alabama. I have been and in fact, my son's family is from, what's the town called, my son?
They come from Bruton,
Alabama. So this is all very close, except Mobile. Anyway, it's different.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's close though. An hour here, hour there, hour and a half the most to get to either Bruton, Monroeville, or to Mobile. And I have a lot of family in Mobile. And the one thing I will say is that while there are some of my family members that are doing well, there are a lot of younger women and younger men in Alabama that are not doing so well. Right. In those smaller towns, things are a real struggle financially. And there's not a lot of information. So if you don't have a cell phone, which a lot of people do, if you don't have internet, and we always take for granted that everybody has internet, everybody does not. But if you don't have certain information, if people are not providing information or showing you an outside perspective, all you know is the 4 or 5 square miles of your town. And there's a lot of bad things that go on. I mean, exposure is important. It truly is. So I think what you're doing now, my son talked about you becoming a motivational person with your workout. You started, you have your waistband, which I need to go put mine on right now, Lord have mercy. But you have your waistband to help people slim in and work out and keep themselves fit. And you work out hard. Now, prior to what happened with that incident in 2018, were you working out?
No, I wasn't. I was like on a mild journey, but it wasn't as extent as it is now. So no, I wasn't.
So what pushed you to start working out? Like, what was the thing that said, I need to work out?
So that incident really put me in a place where I was depressed. I was in a dark space. I didn't know how to let out my emotion and understand where I was coming from. So working out, it got me to that point of being able to release my emotion and let out the pain and the hurt and just be able to push forward to reach goals, set them, reach them, and, just continue to be able to motivate other people. In that situation, I did motivate a lot of Black women to, speak out and, be a full force for themselves. So this also pushed me to be able to push forward and motivate a little bit more as well. So I find enjoyment with inspiration and motivation.
You work out hard though. Like you're not, you also are, you have what they call it bottom heavy. You an Alabama girl for real.
Yes, ma'am. Cornbread fed. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you and your mama got a little bit of junk in your trunk. And so you really work out hard, more than most. Like, how many hours are you putting into your physical training?
Me personally, I go to the gym and I train myself at least between an hour to 2 hours. Just depends on how I'm feeling that day. Some days I may get an hour in. Some days I may get an hour, 2 hours and 45 minutes in. It just depends on how I feel that day. But
How many days a week?
I go every day. Every day except for Saturday. I don't go on Saturdays because it's like my chill day. But I go every day. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So for folks who are listening in, you could go check Chikesia out on her social media, where she promotes and posts a lot about her workout and the journey. Now you've decided to take your experience and move into helping the young women.
Yes, ma'am, I have. That's correct. Yes,
so tell us about what's happening on April 16th.
So April the 16th, since my incident, I started a nonprofit called Brown Girls Rule the World. My nonprofit, it does strive to be a big sister in the community. We're trying to target the preteens and the teenage girls in the community to be able to, start those conversations with the women, teach them about self-care, about financial systems, about goals, about love and life and God, and just be that, because it's a lot of girls, like you stated, in Alabama. It's a lot of women down here that does not have that direction to be able to know stuff, resources, and have this type of education for this and that. So my purpose for this tea party is to bring the girls together in the community, open up those conversations, start those conversations. My daughter, Liv is going to the 6th grade next year. This is like a journey for me, not only me, but for her. And so I know when I transition over from 5th grade elementary over to 6th grade middle school, I learned a lot of stuff that was the wrong information. And my mom, our parents, they are raised on basically in that bubble as well. So it's a lot of information that they weren't taught as well. So when I transitioned over to middle school, I found out about a lot of stuff like sex and guns and drugs and money and, just a lot of different stuff that, if someone would have took the time to say, hey, this is what this is really about. This is how this really go. I would have had that education on how to move forward in my life with different things. So with her, this is what I'm trying to introduce to those girls. Starting that conversation, like I said, redirect that narrative for our younger girls, and just be a big sister in the community to them. So this is what the tea party is going to be about.
That's really amazing. Is this going to be the first tea party?
This is our very first event. And so we're skeptical, we're kind of anxious and excited, but it's for the better, it's for the best. It's a free event. We want the girls to be able to dress up in those tea party outfits and come and have the tea cakes and drink the tea and socialize and, get educated, get those program prevention resources, and just talk,
Yeah, so it's called Butterflies and Flowers Tea Party.
Yes, ma'am.
It's for preteens and teenage girls from 1 to 4 on April 16th. For folks who are out there listening, who want to help, who want to donate, who want to support, who want to bring their children, you can follow the group on Instagram and Facebook at Brown Girls Rule the World 21. That's Brown Girls Rule the World 21. And from what I hear, Facebook is where all the information is being shared, and there's a lot of communication there about the event. Now, you talked about girls dressing up in their tea party outfits. Do you think that that already prevent or places a barrier on kids that don't have a tea party outfit? Like, what is the solution for that?
So what we want to do with the tea party outfits, we want to be able to build confidence. So with the tea party outfits, we always see on TV the other colored women always dress up, and they have these nice tea parties where they go and, you know, fellowship with these other ladies to do this and do that. Well, I want our girls to be able to feel like they can do that as well. They see other people that look like them to be able to do that as well. It's not a requirement. We're not requiring everyone to have on that, but, you know, it's just something to enlighten the mood, enlighten the, you know, the event. So we just want to be able to bring some type of event to them like that, because I know it's a lot of us that has never been to a tea party before.
So, you know what we should do moving forward, right? Like, since she did bring up a good point, is that prior to each tea party, because we're going to do this for the next 20 years, you know, we raise money, have people donate tea party dresses so that the girls who come there who don't have it don't feel out of place, and we're able to give those girls dresses so that everybody is able to fit the decorum, everybody feels like they align with what's going on. So that's something that we should work towards.
I love that, Mike. I like that. I really like that. We're going to have to put that in now. Thank you.
And I also think that today, if we want to try to accommodate 5 to 10 girls to get them a dress throughout this week, we can post it and tell people to help support. So do you all have a place where people can donate?
Yes, ma'am, we do. We have Donately. Donately is a link that we have. It's a text message link. Even if you don't have Cash App or PayPal or Venmo, you know, you're always able to click the link, put in your credit card, debit card information, bank account information, and it goes right out of your account.
So I know today, I think today's the 13th or whatever it is that you all are seeing this. And so you may say, well, the 16th is right now, but still help, because I see my vision it came to me in the vision that even if people just give you 2 days of donations, at least they could go out, you could go out and buy a flower, not carnation. What's that thing called that people?
The corsage,
a corsage, or maybe the little hat, or have a box of things that any girl can get something out of it and put it on to make them feel like they are part of the event. So that's what I'm asking. I'm asking for anyone who is listening today to donate. You see the information. I'm posting the information here. You see it, so that you will give an opportunity to Chikesia and her team to go out and fill up a little box with things that these young girls can put on. Even if they only had a sweatsuit, they only had jeans and a t-shirt, that they could have something, a scarf, they could have some type of flower, they could have a little hat that they can add to their outfit that helps to make them feel like they're in the room. So we all should be able to do that. I'm going to start with the first $150 donation, because you go and hopefully pick up some things. I'm going to also make sure that Until Freedom gives $150 today. My son's
I'm gonna give $150.
He's gonna give $150.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
And I'm gonna make sure that Linda and Angelo and others, that we go ahead and donate $150 today to support what you all are doing, and make sure you have something for all the girls.
Thank you, sis. And also, I do want to reiterate this as well. We are also collecting donations, because we are also trying to accommodate 2 or 3 young girls that are going to be in this tea party for senior dues, or their junior dues at school. We do have a few prom dresses that we do have. People have donated prom dresses to us, so we do have prom dresses for the prom that is coming up for those girls who don't have a dress. We do have those available for them. So we're trying to accommodate as far as like prom, any junior and senior fees that they may have, even crossing over fees that the parents may have. We want to be able to accommodate that as well.
We on it. I'm asking everybody that is listening to join us in giving $150. We're not, we ain't at 500 at this moment. Right. $150 for each one of us to give, to help support what they're doing in Mobile, Alabama, which is a place that I'm telling you, I know I've been there. I've spent my entire life in Alabama. Some people don't know that, but New York, of course, is my home, but I have spent literally half of my life in Alabama, being there as a young girl. And I know how detrimental it is to get support for these young girls because the system has starved them out. There's no resources, there's economic challenges. They don't get to see the bright lights in the big cities. They are in communities where there's a lot of devastation. And basically, a lot of them end up pregnant. They end up maybe incarcerated. They end up in really bad situations. And so what you all are doing with Butterflies and Flowers, the Tea Party, but also more importantly, Brown Girls Rule the World as an organization is important. And Chikesia, I just want to say to you that I'm so proud of what you've been able to do because I know the dark place that we met you in 2018. You know, the people who talked about you, lied on you, the friends you lost, the relationships that went bad, the insecurities of it all. And more importantly, sitting in that courtroom watching a kangaroo trial take place where they had no intention whatsoever of ever giving you justice. It has, and in fact, there were charges against you. So you have a record.
Worst should I ever seen. Worst should I ever seen, man. So, you know, we just want to say we appreciate you. We celebrate you. You don't look like you've been through. You look like the phoenix that rose from the ashes, and you continue to grow into this budding young leader, you know, excellent mother, and just continuing to do the things in the community and paying it forward. So we're going to support you every time. You know, you got both of our phone numbers, and whenever you need us, we're going to be there for you.
I know. I love y'all. Y'all my people forever.
All right. Well, congratulations. April 16th, y'all. We need $150 today. Don't think about it. Just do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Thank you, Chikesia.
Love you.
Thank you. Love y'all.
Shout out to Chikesia Clemons, man. I love that girl and everything that she's
a woman. She's a little girl to you, but
that's what I'm saying. But she's still gonna be. She always gonna be my little girl. But
I know
that woman who's evolved into an enormous leader, a great leader and motivator. You know, support her organization, Brown Girls Rule the World, and her event, Butterflies and Flowers Tea Party in Mobile, Alabama, from 1 to 4. Make sure that you go to the site to get the exact address, but donate some money to it, man. We want to see all of those girls come out there in their little tea party dresses and their hats with their corsages. So we're gonna invest in it, and we want you to invest in it too. You know, Chikesia has, damn, you know, I remember watching her grow from, you know, I remember crying watching that Waffle House situation and hitting you up like, yo, we got to go fight for this young lady, you know what I'm saying? And to see her, you know, go to all, like you said, we went through that court case with her. We marched through Saraland where they told us that they might shoot us down.
Kill us down. Oh my God.
We went through a lot of stuff. People don't even know the stuff that we've been through, but you know, and Chikesia was brave through it all, man. She didn't know what to do, you know, and she trusted us. We trusted her, and we stood with her, and we fought through it all. And now she's evolved into this motivational individual who is, you know, giving back and providing energy and providing, you know, that level of big sisterhood to the young Black and brown girls in her community. So we want to make sure that we continue to support her. And Butterflies and Flowers Tea Party, we're going to give her flowers as we talk about.
That's right, $150. Join us, y'all.
That 150. Speaking of young Black girls, my I don't get it. It's about another young Black queen that has garnered a lot of attention. You know, I just seen that the Final Four, the women's Final Four, the women's championship game that she played in was the most viewed in history. So they made history with the views on that game. You know, Angel Reese, you know, they call her Miss Double Double, the Bayou Barbie, you know, straight out of Baltimore. You know, she has a passion and an energy and a will to win. She reminds me of the female Kobe Bryant. Like, she just has a killer instinct. And, you know, I really don't get it. So many things I don't get. I could point out, you know, people calling her classless, you know, the owner of Barstool calling her classless piece of shit. I can point out Jill Biden deciding or voicing that she would like both of the teams to come to the White House even after LSU was victorious, and it's never been done before where the losing team goes to the White House. And I can point out how that didn't make sense, and I didn't get that. You know, I could point out how numerous people all over criticize this young lady. But what I think I really don't get is, why do we celebrate the passion, that same passion, in male athletes? Why do we look at Draymond, and we look at Kobe, and we look at Allen Iverson, and we look at Jordan, who talks shit, and we look at all of those are our favorite players in the world, and we never heard people criticize them the way that we watched this young girl who had the same level of passion that each of those players had, get called all types of names and have to defend her passion. You know, I really just don't get it. I felt it was so unfair. I've trash talked throughout games. We watched, you know, the young lady who she was playing against, who is actually the best player in the nation, you know, and that's when you talk shit. You want to talk shit against the best. When you beat the best player in the nation by 15 and 20 points and you win pretty much the whole game, and you watch that player talk shit to your friends and all around, and even talk shit to you before, you come in there with a chip on your shoulder. You're going to talk shit at the end of the game, because that's what we do. We want to look at you and say, you ain't better. Yeah, I whooped your ass. That's what the fire is about. That's that killer instinct. You want to look at the best player and say, you ain't better than me. I'm the best player. That's what that fire is about. You know what I'm saying? That's what that fire is about. So why we don't celebrate it in women when we see it? Why is there something classless about a woman having that same energy and that same flair? You know what I'm saying? I want to continue. And that's why, you know what I'm saying? That is why I think most people don't respect the women's basketball league, because they don't see that enough, right?
Well, there's pay disparities.
Yeah, but those are the things. Because the thing is, people would view it if you seen that level of intensity. If you seen that level, if there was rivalries and there was that level of intensity, and every
that's not why you don't see it, though. That's not why you don't.
I believe so, because
that's not what it is.
I think that if that was more celebrated, if it wasn't frowned upon, that women had this level of flair and they had that level of competitive nature, to where it's two people that's dogs that's going growling at each other after every ball, we fouling, we looking at each other like, yeah, I'm gonna whip your ass.
But they do it, because sometimes when I am like, you know, sometimes I just stop, because there's been a few women's players that I like. You know, I don't really watch sports, but few times, especially with the young lady, her name is Tamika Catchings. When she was playing, I would go every now and then and watch it. Yeah, because she, you know, she had my name and everybody used to talk about how great she was. So I would watch it, check her out. And they are very competitive, and they have a lot of aggression.
But it's not amplified. It's not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I just want to make sure it's clear that it is literally muffled in the media. Like, that's the issue. It doesn't receive
see that intensity, man.
The same respect. They don't get paid the same. They're not respect. They don't get the same endorsement deals. So this is an issue. But the thing is, you have to, the question is not about basketball. That's a great question. And I appreciate you for even acknowledging it, which I know that over time you've become very, very clear and sensitive to how women are treated different, right? And so I appreciate that. But this is not a basketball problem. This is an American or a world problem, a societal problem, in terms of how women are constantly devalued and how patriarchy plays out in our society, where there is more reverence and respect and acknowledgement and celebration of men for the same exact task. I was watching a film, returning from Europe. I watched a movie about, it's called The Independent. And I suggest any and everybody go watch this film. It's called The Independent. It's about a guy running for president, white man. He's an independent and he becomes a superstar because, like, you know, he's saying the right things, and it's at a time at school shootings and this and that and all the shit, and people are looking for something different. It ends up being a clusterfuck at the end of the movie, but it was really good. But there's a Black woman in the newsroom, and she has suggestions about great news stories, including covering this independent. So she's all into, trying to pitch different stories. If you ever see the bullpen, where all the reporters are in there and they're meeting and they're kicking out story ideas, and some of them are chosen for front pages and important placement in the paper and online and whatever. This is what this scene is. So she explains what she thinks should be done in terms of covering the independent and how it ties to some of the issues around public schools and students and different things. They don't, the white man who is the head of the newspaper, he's the main editor or whatever. He's just like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. He basically disrespects her, but then he disrespects white folks in the room too. So it's just the culture. But when she finally convinces him that the story is important, he turns around and does a double whammy. And this is why people have been upset with me for saying that sexism is worse than racism in some situations. Well, it's worse than racism, but I was speaking about a Black woman being Kamala Harris when I said it, and how sexism is worse. It's a double whammy. So you already are dealing with racism, which is horrible. And then when you are a woman, it compounds the issue. And now you have to deal with that as well, right? So to hell with whoever didn't understand it. I'll give you an example. He turns around, takes her story, and gives it to a white man who is her junior. He's not even as smart as she is, but he gives it to this white man. Two things happen. One, he gave it to a white person, so that was racist, but he also gave it to a man, as if to say that he was not confident in her as a woman, a Black woman, that she could do the job. So this is where the double whammy of sexism and racism exists. And that's what we see playing out, not just in basketball, but it plays out in corporate boardrooms. It plays out in politics. It plays out in our communities. It's all over. It's all over the place. And then let me just finish my point with this, or bring another point. I appreciate Caitlin Clark, the young lady who you said is the #1 player or whatever. She's the best.
Yes, I do. I want to say that too.
I respect her. Because when asked about it, first of all, homegirl did an interview. She was super cool. She wasn't all charged up and whatever. Super cool. No, I ain't going to the White House because that's not what you're supposed to do. I hope I get invited at another time. And you could tell that she has been trained to make sure that she covers all bases. So she circled back and said, and I appreciate that the First Lady came to the game and that so many powerful people and important people and special people were there to watch us play. That was great. But no, I would not take that away from LSU. There's no runner-up situation. They should be going on their own, and we should be invited to go to the White House at another time. I would love to do that. So she got her politics in order, her personal politics. Then she got her race relations in order and she didn't say it when they asked her.
Yeah, but she just said yeah and continued on. She didn't.
That Angel Reese should not be receiving any backlash or criticism for what she did. I've done trash talk. That's what the game is all about. She covered all her bases in that interview and talked about how great the team was. She made sure to dispel narratives that were out there. And she hit women's rights. Why is it that we are seen different when we do certain things?
That's right.
Whoever's working with Caitlin, they're doing a damn good job.
No, she's definitely the truth. When I watched it, I was like, let me see what she's gonna say. And when I heard her, I was like, wow, she gets it. You know, she
know more, but she just don't.
She know more. But she knows how to she's politically savvy enough to say what I need to say without saying what I'm gonna say that's gonna make you say that I said some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You can't dispute nothing I said. You can't make it see I said exactly what I said, and you know what I meant, but you can't say I said what I meant.
Right. You can't use my words against me to start another 2 weeks of a cycle that gets my people all up in the panties in a bunch. So
Right.
I'm just gonna say it, and that's privilege, and that is white privilege. Let's be clear, because I know there's somebody that's like, oh yeah, but she
She knew how
could
to
have.
use it, but she knew how to use that. That's
she
what we
know how
want.
to use it.
That's what we want white people to use their privilege for.
That's
We
right.
want you to walk around with your privilege and use it to dispel myths and speak on behalf of shit that you know is wrong that we dealing with every day, because we know we can't say it.
Right.
So way
Or
to
we
use your
can say
privilege
it, but
for.
when Angel Reese says it, like I'm sure that at some point she's the way that she's so blunt, the way that she's so real and raw, and everything that she's saying, a part of that comes from the trauma of being
Saying
Black.
fuck it, said, no matter what it is, y'all gonna throw some shit at me anyway. So I'm
Right.
gonna
So
say
it's the
what I gotta
trauma
say.
of being Black. But Caitlyn, as a privileged white woman, or privileged young white woman, she ain't gotta walk all the way into the lion's den, but she sure enough made sure she got up on the gates close enough that you knew she was there. And I appreciate that about her. So that's all I have to say.
And that's all that needs to be said, man. Once again, another dope episode of Street Politicians. Shout out to our guests and people who follow us. Continue to support us. Number one, the number one podcast comes to Streets and Politics when it talks about that's real. We got the best podcast out here. Right, Tamika?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, man. So shout out to our guest, Chikesia Clemons. Make sure you support Brown Girls Rule the World and her event, Butterflies and Flowers Tea Party, April 16th from 1 to 4 in Mobile, Alabama. Go to her website, support. We got me and Tamika is putting up our 150. You should put up 150 and put it in, man. We love you.
You said we got the best podcast. It is true. First of all, the Black Effect Network has the best podcast, period. In the industry.
Shout out to the Black Effect Network. Shout out to the Black Effect Network for supporting us and putting us on with the other best podcasts.
I was about to say, the best podcast is Horrible Decisions. Oh my God, the things that those ladies are talking about. Horrible. And it's horrible. It's not horrible. It's horrible.
Of course.
That's my favorite.
Anyway, Street Politicians, man. We love you. I'm not going to always be right. Tamika D. Mallory's not going to always be wrong, but we will both always, and I mean always, be authentic. Boycott Black murder.
Peace.
Lou.
Listen to Street Politicians on the Black Effect Network on iHeartRadio.
And catch us every single Wednesday for the video version of Street Politicians on iWomen.tv. That's how we own it.